I was going to say, Nick Bosa is probably the #1 player on the 49ers draft board at the moment in terms of need, value, how good he is as well. I mean, he's about as safe a thing as it gets in this draft. So Nick Bosa is going to be my pick for #2 overall with the 49ers. No trades here.
Are you typing in your picks?
I'm cutting and pasting them from the left there. You're
going to cut them? Okay, so they'll disappear off the board.
Yeah, so they'll
okay,
disappear off the board. So
smart.
Nick Bosa, edge defender. I mean, highest pass rushing win rate in all of college football over the past 2 seasons. He had a higher pass rushing win rate as a true freshman than guys like Montez Sweat, Cleveland Farrell. I mean, he is a legitimate sure thing. As far as sure things go, if he stays healthy on the NFL football field, he is going to be a productive NFL player for my money.
Yeah, and pass rush is the easiest thing probably to project, especially if guys do it at a high level in college, when you pair it with athleticism and the various ways that you can break guys down. So Nick Bosa to the 49ers, good selection there. So now I'm on the clock with the New York Jets at 3. And in a real-life scenario here, this is like trade down world, please. Like, I want to trade down so badly as the Jets general manager, because this is a tough decision here. And I think the Jets are in a place where they need to trade down and just accumulate picks, offset what happened with Sam Darnold last year and the fact that they gave up a few picks to go get him, which was the right move, which was fine. But I don't think there's a clear fit here. I'm debating between Jonah Williams, the offensive tackle from Alabama, and Josh Allen and Quinnen Williams. Josh Allen, the edge from Kentucky, Quinnen Williams from Alabama. This is my old best player available world. Do I put it to a test with Quinnen Williams? I think you do. I don't think that that nose tackle there or interior player there is not necessarily a need for them. You can put Henry Anderson at defensive end if you really want to after they re-signed him, and Leonard Floyd at 3 technique, and let Quinnen Williams hit the Leonard
nose.
Williams, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, but that's what I'm saying. In my world, I would usually go best player. I'd usually go Quinnen Williams. But Jonah Williams at tackle fits a need. Josh Allen at edge certainly fits a need. It's like I'm cheating on myself. I'm gonna go with Josh Allen from Kentucky.
Okay.
Because I think he's a top 5 grade for us, just like Jonah Williams and Quinnen Williams. I'll cut him. Should I cut him?
Yep. Cut him.
Cut and paste. The Josh Allen
cutting
edge
is like
defender.
handing in the.
That's the card. That's the card. Okay. So we're doing this. This is really live and dynamic over here. How many millions are watching right now, Matt?
What do we
5.
do?
We have 5 million watching. Whatever YouTube says is watching, it's actually 5 million. Their counter's off. There's a lot of pressure on us right now. So we're 3 picks in, going Josh Allen with the New York Jets.
Number 5 overall player on our big board. I think it's well worth the pick. I think he has, in terms of just athletic ability, he has as much as any edge defender in this draft class. I know his testing wasn't necessarily off the charts, but at 6'5", 260, he has the most in terms of like coordination, the smoothest athlete at the edge position in this class, and is safe in terms of he can be an off-ball linebacker and cover. He can do things in coverage that a lot of off-ball linebackers in this class can't do in coverage. If you really can't rush the passer, if that really doesn't translate to the NFL, I still think his coverage will translate to the NFL. So he can play off-ball and be that guy in your defense like an Anthony Barr if you want. Yeah,
so the Jets were ready to sign Anthony Barr. He backed out at the last second. Josh Allen is very close to Anthony Barr from a skill set standpoint. We'll see if the Jets actually want to use him that way. Actually, the Bucs at 5 would have been a great fit for, I think, what they want to do defensively now, but I had to take him. Had to take him with the Jets. Yeah.
Had to take him. And then this one, to me, after you take that, very easy decision for Raiders at 4. Quinnen Williams on the board there. Need anyone basically along the defensive lines in need at this point for the Oakland Raiders. Quinnen Williams, the Alabama defensive tackle. Freakishly athletic, freakishly productive, highest single-season grade we've ever given to a defensive tackle in our college grading system. So that, to me, fantastic pick. Fantastic way this draft looks like it's going to play out with the quarterback going above where the Raiders are picking. They're going to be getting a good player for.
The Raiders, if they have a strength on the defensive line, though, is also on the interior. So that's swayed me a little bit.
I mean,
they're not.
They have
great
Maurice
there.
Hurst. It's like that. That's about. It's hardly a strength.
Nobody on your roster is going to keep you from drafting Quinnen Williams.
All right, number 12, probably another one here where we may deviate from the overall consensus.
I know where you're going here.
It's a guy that I've loved the fit for a long time now. I think he could be there when they actually get their other first-round pick, the Green Bay Packers, at number 30. But Jerry Tillery, the Notre Dame defensive tackle, I think he is that good. I've explained why he's that good. There's an article up on the website right now for me calling him a top 10 player in this draft class. He had the highest pass rushing grade, tied with Quinnen Williams in the nation among interior players last year. And oh yeah, that's tied for the highest passing grade we've ever seen from an interior player in a single season in the time since we've started grading games in 2014. He's that good. He went to the combine, was freakishly athletic there. 6'6", long arms. Not a lot of question marks for his game in my book after that.
Wow.
There he is, number 12.
Tillery.
And fits a need. So they still need that guy opposite Mike Daniels along that defensive line to play in that base 3-4 defense that Mike Pettin loves to run.
How similar is Tillery to your guy, Chris Jones? You were the one pounding the table for Chris Jones a couple of years ago. You weren't the only one. PFF grades backed it up. Your own evaluation backed it up. You wanted to call him a top 5 player in the draft. That's what he's become.
I think he's very
How
similar.
close?
Chris Jones came out a little heavier, but Chris Jones, if you watched him this past year, he slimmed down this past year. I think he looked like he was playing under 300 pounds this past year. And, oh, by the way, he also coincided with his best pass rushing grade of his career, 16 sacks or whatever he did have. I think that is Tillery's projection to the NFL. Not necessarily, I'm not saying he's going to be Chris Jones, but I think the pass rushing at 290 plus pounds at 6'6" is there. He has a handful of pass rushing moves already and was very consistent game in, game out in being their best pass rushing threat there along Notre Dame's defensive line. I just think that that whole package that he is at this moment is very translatable to the NFL.
You just took Jerry Tillery over Ed Oliver.
Correct.
That's where they're ranked on our draft board as well.
Yes.
We're going to have Oliver a little bit lower than some other people, despite what happened at his pro day. But he's a tempting player now at this point in the draft. Highest player remaining on our draft board, Jeffrey Simmons. We have an asterisk next to his name because of the ACL.
Yes.
And so Jeffrey Simmons is the top player on the board if you're keeping track at home, which is very difficult to do, I understand. All right. Number 13, the Miami Dolphins are on the board. I am debating between Ed Oliver and the guy that's just slightly above him on our draft board, Brian Burns from Florida State. I'm also looking at offensive tackle, but that would be a need pick to fill that right tackle spot for me.
Yes.
Dolphins are in bring in talent mode. Bring in good players no matter where you could find them, so I'm going Brian Burns. The edge defender from Florida State. We're copying and pasting him over here with the Dolphins. They're weak on the defensive fronts. They're weak all over the place. We might be in 2-year tank mode if I'm the Dolphins. By the way, from a quarterback, if you're looking at quarterbacks based from a PFF perspective, the next guys off the board, we're looking at Will Grier, Drew Lock, Daniel Jones. They're not.
Will Grier is 24th on our big board.
Right. We don't necessarily have them as, we definitely don't have Daniel Jones or Drew Lock as high first-round picks, like a lot of people do. So that's where we are right now on that. So the Dolphins, I'm not looking at quarterback. I'm not reaching for a QB. I'm going Brian Burns, the edge from Florida State, who led the nation in pressures among all edge defenders last year during the regular season.
Definitely fits the need. Got rid of Robert Quinn this offseason. Charles Harris has just not been that guy for them after they took him in the first round a couple years ago. Really has not translated much, if at all, to the NFL field. Unfortunate, we had him graded highly coming out, so that's not great for us. But Brian Burns graded well, very athletic, tested very well, little undersized, but I think you've already seen him get bigger from his sophomore year to his junior year. I think he's only continue. He has the body type where he can continue to add weight to his frame. I think he's probably the best edge after Nick Bosa and Josh Allen in this class.
Had a couple of nice reps against your number 6 overall pick, Juwan Taylor, there.
Yes, he did.
Florida. Throughout his career.
He definitely did. All right, on to number 14, Atlanta Falcons. And this is where Ed Oliver comes off the board.
Yeah.
Falcons have very much prided themselves on adding athleticism to their defense. That has been their type. They have added athletes at every single level. They very much look at testing, and I can't really argue too much with the results before last year when sort of the wheels came off with injuries, but the guys that they've added to that defense have made them one of the better defenses in the NFL when fully healthy, but still someone across from someone to pair with Grady Jarrett has been a need. Jarrett can even play the nose tackle, has played the nose tackle in that defense, so I'm not too worried about Ed Oliver's size and not being able to play him pretty much anywhere else other than 3 technique. I think he can fit into that defense still and just add some pass rushing prowess, some run defensive prowess. I think he's a little bit of rejection, might not be there year one, but I think down the line, you're still getting a good player.
Atlanta's an interesting team. They remind me of the Steelers a little bit, where it feels like they're always in need of just pass rushing talent For the Steelers, it's more like replacing edge defenders every year.
Yeah.
It's not that the Falcons haven't completely missed on guys, but Vic Beasley, Tack McKinley, they just haven't really hit.
Yeah.
Grady Jarrett has been a hit, but the whole defensive line has just been this place where it feels like you get a year of Dontari Poe here, and so they just always need to bring talent in, and I think Ed Oliver is a great fit there, as you said, to pair with Grady Jarrett. All right, so you're up again.
Up with the Giants again, and here's where I'm building for the future. I'm willing to take a shot on Jeffrey Simmons with that injury because...
Wow, there it is.
Like I said, you're not building for this year if you're the New York Giants. He is a top 10 player when on the field. He tore an ACL early this offseason. Could still be back for 2019. I don't even think you need him to be back for 2019. If you're the Giants, you can say, hey, take a whole year, get that knee right, and then come back to us in 2020 when we're back ready to compete, when we're back on the upswing of a rebuild. And then you get two blue chip players in Juwan Taylor and Jeffrey Simmons along the line of scrimmage, where Dave Gettleman loves to get his guys.
Simmons to the Giants, it's not bad. I mean, if you are going to sacrifice a quarterback, getting Juwan Taylor at tackle and Jeffrey Simmons at interior D line, not the worst place in the world to go. The Chargers now, a couple different ways they can go. Darnell Savage, the safety from Maryland's a top player on our board. I love him. Could you imagine him and my boy Derwin James on the back end?
It's a lot of ground being covered, yeah.
That is so tantalizing right now. But I still think I'm going to go defensive interior. This is where I think the Chargers have had issues for years. I can debate between the two Clemson guys. Christian Wilkins and Dexter Lawrence are our next two interior defensive linemen. I think Christian Wilkins brings a little bit more versatility there. So I'm going Christian Wilkins. The Clemson interior defensive lineman. He's going to the Chargers at 28. He went to Clemson already, but he's going to 28. I'm now the Rams at 31. We got 2 picks left. Rams at 31. Man, I got a couple to choose from here.
Yeah,
I do want to replace John Sullivan at center, but I don't think I'm going to do it with Elgin Jenkins. I think I've got some other places that I want to go. I want to get him in the first round. He's got a first round grade for us. Chase Winovich from Michigan. He's the next edge off our board. He's ahead of Cleveland Farrell, Zach Allen, and Montez Sweat on our board as of right now. Dexter Lawrence is also tempting right here for the Rams, but I'm going Chase Winovich, Michigan edge defender, the best edge defender to come out of Michigan in the draft right now, gets after the quarterback. He can win in the run game. The Rams have had this need at edge for a while with Aaron Donald tearing things up on the interior. Pair Winovich with Dante Fowler. I just went full. I saw Dexter Fowler. I watched 3 at-bats of baseball this weekend. Dexter Fowler had one of them, and it got stuck in my head. Dante Fowler, of course, on the edge with Chase Winovich. I like the fit there for the Rams.
Yeah, I like the fit. I think Garrett Bradbury could be high on their board as well, just because of how much of a zone center he is. That's pretty much the only scheme I would want him in with his size. But that's what the Rams run. He would make a lot of sense for them there as well.
We have a second round. Sorry, we have a second round grade on Bradbury, but for the Rams, he'd be a first round grade for us if we were doing team boards.
Yes, so that one's close. We can't argue with the edge need. If they did have someone else to rush the passer, pretty much anyone else to rush the passer there, that defensive line would be terrifying for opposing offenses. Right now, it's pretty much just Aaron Donald, and Sue was something last year, but not anything special rushing the passer. If they had anyone, it would be tough to defend. So can't argue with that. Winovich has produced at an extremely high level his entire college career, and then he tested freakishly at the combine. So not a ton of question marks with him.
So I'm going Winovich.
32nd
Did that
pick.
surprise you that he tested well? That confirmed a lot of things. We saw it on film with Winovich.
Yeah, I thought he was a good athlete. It was better. He did test better than I expected, though.
It is nice to see that, though. Patriots at 32. Round it out, Mike.
Patriots at 32. I think the way the board is shaping up here could either go, I think along the defensive line is still where the value is in this draft class. And I think I've said this all along. Dexter Lawrence is a disruptor on the interior, only 21 years old. Nose tackle is more than just a placeholder. And the Patriots love interior pressure. They love nose tackles. They traded a third-rounder for Danny Shelton, who's not near the athlete that Dexter Lawrence is. So if they're trading a third-rounder for 1 year of Danny Shelton, I think they would easily take Dexter Lawrence in the first round, and I'd be willing to, too, in that defense. So Dexter Lawrence is your pick at number 32.
Yeah, I did a breakdown on our YouTube channel comparing Dexter Lawrence actually to Danny Shelton and to Vita Vea, the other 340-pound guys that went in the first round a couple years ago. Vita Vea and Dexter Lawrence both have a great combination of both run stopping grade and pass rush grade, where Shelton was well below in pass rush grade.
Yes.
And so Shelton didn't really justify a first-round pick. I think Vita Vea will. I think Dexter Lawrence also will because of the ability to play 3 downs.
Yeah, and Lawrence and Vita Vea athletically nowhere in different worlds than Danny Shelton was. I mean, he did 36 bench reps and ran a 5.05. Dexter Lawrence did with almost 35-inch arms. I mean, he is a absurdly large human being. You could even just be like, hey, drop 20 pounds and play, 3-tech for us. You could get him to trim weight, I would imagine, and he would be even better. But that 36 bench reps that's a big, nice number for a 21-year-old.
Yeah, and look, since he was a true freshman, he was right up there with Ed Oliver as far as production goes. He tapered off a little bit in the run game compared to Oliver, but as a pass rusher, he's been similar from a PFF pass rush standpoint. That brings me to the Raiders at number 35. And just to recap what you did with the Raiders in the first round, you gave them Quinnen Williams, the interior D lineman from Alabama, Amani Oruwariye, the Penn State cornerback, and then Hakeem Butler, the wide receiver out of Iowa State. I noticed you did not address their major need at edge defender. And the way our board is falling, it fits really well. Cleveland Farrell from Clemson still there. Zach Allen from Boston College. Montez Sweat from Mississippi State. They're the next 3 on our board. I'm trusting the board. I'm going Cleveland Farrell to the Raiders. So now they're adding an edge defender to that already improved defense. So they're fitting needs, but also with the board falling to them properly, not reaching for needs. I like that for Oakland.
Yeah, I think realistically, Cleveland Farrell could fall out of the first round. I don't think NFL's crazy high in him. Did not test exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Production, limited snaps. I mean, he didn't play a full-time role there. He wasn't on the field every single down. He was in a pretty heavy rotation there for Clemson and only put together really his senior year. So I'm not sure the NFL is going to see him as a surefire first-round talent.
I have the Bucs now at 39. A couple different ways I can go here. They grabbed Jonah Williams at 5. We went just straight best player available. He could play guard. He could play tackle. Got a couple options there the first time around. On the turn here, there's some defensive talent available. I think I'm going to go that way. I'm going to go edge defender Montez Sweat. I'm going to go over Zach Allen. Zach Allen's a little bit higher on our draft board, but I'm going to play the potential game just a touch with Montez Sweat and see, I like him in the second round. I don't love him in the first round. I think it's a little risky in the first, but the Mississippi State edge defender, we like him in the second round. We got a lot of questions about why Sweat hasn't come off the board, why Rashawn Gary hasn't come off the board. They'll be off the board here likely sometime in the second.
Yeah, Montez Sweat, I mean, that could feasibly be their pick in the first round.
It really could.
It really could be their pick in the first round with how athletic he is. I still have questions about how stiff he is in terms of and limited pass rushing moves to this point.
Right.
Pretty much only one with his athleticism, with that bull rush in the SEC. So I have question marks about him. That's why he goes here later. But, I mean, the athleticism is off the charts.
So even though he could be their pick at 5, we're asking people to kind of wrap their brains around this from a value standpoint. We're the GMs. This is where we are valuing the players. And I think the takeaway would be, hey, if your team picks Montez Sweat at 5, we think that's way too high for him, and we're just trying to give you perspective as to where we would slot these guys.
Yes.
You're up, Mike.
All right, I'm up. Buffalo Bills, pick number 40 in the first round. You got defensive back Byron Murphy out of Washington to help out that defense. Bills fans very angry at you, rightfully so. But I will go. I will go offense. I will go offensive tackle here. Actually, I'm going to switch it up at the last second.
Wow.
I was going to go Greg Little because for as much offensive line help as they added in free agency, I don't think any of it besides the center they added, whose name has escaped me, Mitch Morse at the moment, is really penciling in for the long term there along the offensive line, so they could still add more help. But I think I'm going to address defense side of the ball because going back-to-back defense, for as good as the defense was, I'm not sure is what's realistically going to happen in real life. But Zach Allen, I think, fits the need there in terms of his versatility, able to play edge and inside for that defense. No more Kyle Williams there along that defensive line. I'm going to go Zach Allen, Boston College edge defender. He barely came off the field. Played 106 snaps in a game this past season. Pretty absurd.
Yeah, he's an impressive player. Again, I just chose Sweat over him for the Bucs, so that's not a bad fit there. You get the Vikings now?
Yeah. What am I doing?
I think you're going to get your boy at guard.
I'm not.
Oh, you're not?
I'm going. Vikings already addressed offensive line in the first round with Andre Dillard. This is where Rashawn Gary comes off the board.
Okay.
They have a history of developing defensive ends there.
So you have
with some athleticism.
So like Everson Griffin type of. This would be a good fit. This is where Rashawn Gary could make us look stupid and go here and develop and be very good. This is one of those places.
Very much so.
Because we're much lower on him than everyone else.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he could even fill in at 3 technique right away. Lost Sheldon Richardson. I think, truthfully, to me, that's his best position. I know he doesn't want to play there. Didn't want to play there in college. Probably doesn't want to play there in the NFL. But I just don't see it happening for him on the edge. He might have to kick inside at some point.
I like it. This is where I think he should come off the board. Late 40s, early 50s. I think that's where Rashawn Gary's true value is. If we see him going in the top 5 or top 10, we just think, okay, you're overdrafting. You're overdrafting by quite a bit. All right, that brings me to the Tennessee Titans. First time around, A.J. Brown, wide receiver. Love that fit for Marcus Mariota, guy that can get open. Man, a couple different ways we can go here. I think I'm going to go Kalen Saunders. Interior D lineman out of Western Illinois.
Yes, I love that fit.
They need to get younger there. You know, they've got Jarrell Casey still there, but this has felt like a place where they just needed to add some bodies, like some upside bodies over the next couple.
Saunders is like a jumbo Jarrell Casey. Like
really is.
Like Jarrell Casey if he played nose tackle. That's Saunders' game. Is a penetrator, great swim move, a little quickness, a little quicker than you'd think, and then a small package. 6'1", 324.
Such a good athlete.
Yes. So I think that would be a perfect landing
Crushed it at the Senior Bowl. I think there's a lot of things to like about Saunders there.
Yes, very much so.